Definitely saving us. Oh my god, it worked again.
How does this? That can't possibly be a
Netcode.
real thing. All right, the serial, the map's still being distributed. All right, here we go on the map Circuit Breaker. This is gonna be I almost said Cryhawk. No, this is gonna be Trutacz. All right, let me go ahead. All right, here we go. On the map, spawning on the map, Circuit Breaker. In the upper left-hand corner, in the blue, as a Terran player, this is Dandy.
And spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner, our teal Zerg player, it is Trutacz.
All right, so this is the map Circuit Breaker. It's pretty similar to Fighting Spirit in the fact that it is a big map with bases all around the edges. It does have bases in the middle, a base in the middle, rather. So, yeah, get ready for that. It almost never gets taken. The player that does take the middle base probably gets the resources from that base that he needs to get an economic advantage to win the game in the late game. So can be very highly contested as games draw into the late game, but pretty easy to take and defend your natural expansion. So this does make towards more average to late game style games.
Yeah, and I mean, you can already see that neither of these players really going for anything too crazy here. We saw Trutacz before in the first game versus Scan go for like a 5-pool. This game, not doing that. Going for a very macro style. We've got the Overlord coming up behind all this. So we're probably going to be seeing like probably 2 or 3 hatch into something crazy. Again, Dandy not doing anything crazy like a giant proxy barracks cheese or anything. They both want to play map number 1 at least. Very solid, very safe.
Okay, actually, so Circuit Breaker is really similar in map set, in tile set, and organization to a map called Andromeda. And Andromeda is the map with the base.
Yep, in the middle.
Andromeda is the map with the base in the middle. Circuit Breaker is not. So sorry about that, guys. I cast a million games on Circuit Breaker, and I'm like, all of a sudden it has a base there. No, there's no base in the middle of Circuit Breaker, but there is an Andromeda. And if you guys want to go like look those maps up and see exactly how similar they are, it's actually kind of unnerving. But they are very similar maps.
Now the thing that like kind of bothers me about this tile set is that you can see the tiles literally around the Terran base right now. They're like giant white like metal. But you can see giant cracks in them. How do Marines and Zergling not get just trapped under there? Like, if I was a Terran army advisor, I'd be like, just put your Marines in those giant cracks and have them hide underneath it. Because you could definitely fit, like, most of a gun out there. Uh-oh. Did we lose you?
Wait, what?
We lost you.
Oh, no.
Maybe?
What happened? No, It says I'm waiting for player Sham 2.
Whoa.
I think I lost.
Whoa.
I think I lost you.
Excuse me, sir? I was the one who brought it up first.
Okay. Yeah, so I can't click anywhere on my client.
Oh, no.
So.
Yeah, I think your client crashed again.
No, it didn't crash. This is actually fully in the game. Well, don't worry, guys. Nothing actually happened.
If you could see me right now, I just, like, headbutted my microphone in sadness.
Oh, I think what happened is maybe one of us hit the D button. I think D will drop. So I'm actually just gonna.
Yeah, just rehost a Reno.
All right, sorry about that.
No worries. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get right back into that game real nice and quick. Gonna be Dandy versus Trutacz, the semifinals of the Filthy BW Cup, sponsored by Filthy Rake as well as Macherino.
All right, map should be up.
Question mark?
Oh,
sorry
wait, about
I
that,
just
guys.
hosted a game. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, so Trapped Inc. Saying that Andromeda has an in-base mineral only, and then 2 island bases. Yeah, so there are differences. They are actually different maps. The third base is like twisted on Circuit Breaker. Circuit Breaker is actually statistically one of the most balanced maps ever, which is why it's in literally every tournament, because it is about as close as possible to the perfect map. So let's actually go ahead and restart this. You're in, I'm in, we're good to go.
Yep. You could actually probably just speed ahead to, I think, 2 minutes and 30 seconds if you want to.
Oh, okay, thanks. So yeah, I'm going to speed this up. We're gonna speed you away. right.
An autogun.
Sorry, we have to get our Jar Jar quotient down. We're just going to speed up to about 2 minutes 30 seconds so we don't have to watch the same thing over and over again.
Oh my god. Somebody in chat named Jamban Rose, like, just chatted. I thought it was Jamba Juice for half a second. I was like, it is them!
Man, we get that Jamba Juice sponsorship. That is what truly saves Brood War right there, man.
That would be amazing. I mean, I'm trying to think of a pun right now, but I don't even have one. I'd just be very happy about it.
Worth a shot.
Worth a shot. Just try to
Okay,
mix it up.
so... Yeah. Okay.
3 hashes coming in here from Trutacz. Meanwhile, we're seeing the 1 Rax FE coming out here from Dandy. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, shouldn't be anything super, I guess, out of the ordinary. In-base hatchery, so this could be something like 3-hatch Muta. That's at least what I think we're going to be heading towards. I haven't seen this particular build from Trutacz yet, following him through this tournament. I don't believe usually he does take a natural with his 3rd hatchery, but this is going to be an in-base hatchery, and it will be scouted by the scouting SCV.
Yeah, which is nice. What I always love about seeing Zergs who also put their hatcheries somewhere else is that you can always just like hide your tech, because Terrans, when they get their academy out, they get the 2 comsats, and sometimes they'll use 1 or 2 scans in order to try and figure out what the Zerg's tech is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have 3 different places that you can put your tech, you potentially like falsely lure the Terran into thinking, or just into not knowing what your tech is, right? So if they scan the natural, they scan the main, but you put your Spire at the 3rd base, now they're like, oh crap, well I didn't learn anything from that, and now I don't have any scans.
A couple of Zerglings poking forward, and wow, actually saving both of those. Nice control on both the Marines and the Zerglings. This is actually a pretty early, I guess a comparatively early command center. At least it seems that way. Actually picking off the SCV building, the depot at the ramp. So gonna have to do a better job at defending that. Gonna go forward, try to take the SCV. Oh no, does reduce it down to half HP. So, consistent flow of Zerglings coming out across the map. What does this look like, Sham2?
Well, it looks like he's going to try and get some 3-hash Ling in there. I mean, he did go for Lair behind this, Hydralisk as well. This is actually very close to what he did for the game for a scan. This is a very large, open natural. You can do a lot of damage with those Zergling. No Firebats coming out there yet. In fact, there isn't even an Academy done. But there are 4 more racks behind this. So we did see the +1 9-minute 5 racks build that's going to be coming in here from Dandy, but Trutacz getting a really good surround on those Marines, going to be able to do a lot of damage.
Oh yikes! This is actually almost too much. Now he's gonna have to use these SCVs to fight with, and it's almost impossible to kill speedlings in your base at this point. And they're actually gonna target down this academy. They can take that one out. That would be insane. Need to get the SCVs in position to either repair this. He's gonna lose his academy. Oh my god. Oh,
that's so bad. Without any medics, without any firebats, these Zergling are gonna be able to do so much damage. There's only Marines to defend this.
But he goes, instead of trying to micro his Zerglings, he wants to be able to get in there and take out. Wow. Instantly, the GGs come out. Oh my god.
Wow.
That's insane. The Zerglings, of course, during that entire thing had come into the base, so it was going to get much worse, but damn.
That was a really quick game. I was not expecting to see Dandy go down so quickly. Now, keep in mind, Dandy is an A+ player, or A- player. So, or no, sorry, it is A+ player, so really good at this game. But losing to that is going to be really disheartening because this is a single elimination as well as a best of 3. Really, Trutacz only needs to get 1 more game in order to get into the finals.
Damn. Wow. Okay, well that is going to do it for our first game. I'm actually already in the process of loading up our second game. Always love to see the discussion in chat if you guys want to talk about the game. We're all kind of Brood War is new enough at this point where I think a lot of players are still kind of figuring things out, but you can definitely see that there are ways that similarities, themes, if you will, through each one of our games. So it's just cool to see, players figuring out what the current meta is, illustrating that. I think the cool thing for me is that once everybody starts playing Brood War again, you're going to see things wildly change with a huge influx of players who are willing to try craziness.
Yeah, and that's always a really cool thing is like, right now we have a small amount of players, so trying new things is always very difficult to see because, getting a small player pool, not many people are going to do many different things. But when you start getting into the massive player pools, you have so many people who can get so good at some little small things that they can completely change the meta. And that was like where most of the meta was shifted, was back when Brood War was massive. Past couple of years hasn't really shifted that much. There have been a couple of small things here and there, but not as big as, back when it used to be thousands and thousands of players, or hundreds of thousands of players, if that.
Yeah, before we get into the second game, the lobby's up and we're ready to go. Before we get into this game, I want to give a big shout out to the people who've been donating to our Matcherino. I typed the Matcherino in chat. If you want to donate $1 for free, you can do that. It helps us increase the amount of money we give to our players. The big shout outs go to our top 2 donators right now. Sparkly Soph, who has donated $21 and says Brood War is back. And then our top donator, Shelly_Tone, has donated $101 to over double our prize pool, which is currently sitting at $213.97. That is insane.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I was just tweeting it out because I was, wow, that is so cool to have people donating to, the good old Brood War. I'm so glad people are like all hyped about Brood War coming back, and thank you so much to you two and everybody else who's helped donate through Matcherino. Of course, typing exclamation mark Matcherino in chat will give you the link. You can actually just donate $1 for free, which is kind of counterintuitive, but yeah, if you just type in the code, you get to donate a whole entire $1. It's absolutely awesome that you all are just donating in just to get Brood War just like that much more money into it, because we're trying to build this city back up again, and every type of donation definitely helps.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Matcherino as well for sponsoring this event and allowing us the ability to crowdfund more money for our for the tournament, supporting Brood War, supporting the players. Big thanks, Matcherino, Shelly_Tone, and our second highest donor, Sparkly Soph. Thank you so much for getting out there. Third highest donor is $6, Dark Matter BW. Everybody else just donating the $1 from the coupon. Every little bit helps. We do want to thank everyone for coming out and supporting this event, whether you're donating or whether you are watching. Thanks for your participation.
Yeah, everybody, get the word out. Tell all your friends. Tell your dog. Tell your cat. Your cat probably won't care because cats are evil. But come check out this cast. We've got the semifinals and then going straight on into the finals. But let's get on into game number 2 of this semifinal series of Trutacz, spawning over here at the 3 o'clock position as the Purple Zerg.
And his opponent spawning in the yellow as a Terran player on the map, Demian. This is our yellow player, Dandy.
Alright, so let's check out how Demian is pretty much formed up. We saw this before, but just to quickly reiterate, it is a 3-player map. It's got a lot of wide open spaces around the main bases. The natural's a little bit open as well, so it's kind of difficult to really defend. But there's a bunch of bases around the whole entire map, so you can actually split out and get into a really nice macro game if things kind of end up that way. It's not quite as big as a 4-player map, but it's still pretty nice, great map to kind of move around and get a lot of mobility on. I love seeing Mutalisks on this map because you have this wide open main. It's not pushed up against one of the edges of the map, except for like one edge as opposed to 2. So Mutas can get a lot of good worth out of this. They can kind of move around and get a lot of good damage.
Yeah, Demian, originally named after the German author Hermann Hesse's biography or story of Emil Sinclair named Demian. So,
it's Demian.
If you guys want to check that one out. I believe it is actually supposed to be pronounced Demian, not Demian. So, I don't know. I could be wrong there.
Pronunciations in this game. Is it Trutacz? Is it Trutacz? We'll never know.
All right, so Overlord will scout the scouting SCV, which will also see it, so no mystery there. Both players scouting each other out. They spawned in close positions, Sham, too. Oh my god!
I mean, every position's close positions on this map, you cheeky person, you.
I'm so funny, right?
It's like one of those commentator curses of being like, oh, Zerg versus Zerg, so I bet Zerg's gonna win.
Nice.
All right,
well, spawning pool just now started here, right as the barracks is finishing, so probably shouldn't see any super crazy aggression just yet. Really, I can't stress enough how cool it was to see Trutacz take that game number 1 with a very well-timed, bust through the front door with those Zerglings. He was scouting it out, trying to poke in, and realized, hey, this bunker is in a really wacky spot. Maybe I can get my Zerglings up and around, surround the Marines, and it's kind of all ogre after that. Now, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. That's what we have to watch out for here in our second game.
Yeah, and we saw Trutacz do the same exact build against Scan as well. Against Scan as well as against Dandy. I'm kind of curious to see if Dandy knows what's coming. The same 3-base play is basically kind of being built up yet again. A lot of Zergling, right behind that, Lair Tech into Hydra Den. Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Dandy to see that coming unless he goes for a really quick, 2 racks Academy. But, since he sees the 3 hatcheries, the standard go-to TVZ build for 3 hatch is to go into Engineering Bay +1 into 4 racks or 5 racks with an Academy behind it. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's going right back into the Engineering Bay. And I think Trutacz's build is meant directly to counter that.
Yeah, he's doing exactly the same build. Not really trying to super hide that hatchery, but it is in the back of his base in the most difficult location to scout. Both times he's done this, though, he has gotten scouted out by that SCV, and now there are those 4 Zerglings, 6 Zerglings rather, headed out across the map, and you have to know that Dandy's going to be ready for this right as he completes his bunker exactly on time.
But he doesn't have a full wall. These Zergling, if they're really ballsy enough, can run past it, but already taking a lot of damage are going to run, just going to kind of wait. But more and more Zergling. We're seeing the same exact 3-hatch build again.
Now, if Dandy is ready for this, he'll start pulling SCVs as soon as he sees another Zergling out there. And one thing that you start to see Terran players do is they'll send one Marine out of the bunker and then have it poke out and just try to keep an eye on the Zerglings here. Because a lot of players will keep their Zerglings all together in 1 or 2 hotkeys right at the opening, so you can scout them out. Now, Trutacz has not done that. He's actually pulled them back and has his hotkeys further back when they are rallying across the map. But curious to see how many Zerglings he's going to go up to before he does try to go in and break this. And it looks like here we go.
Yeah, he's going to go for round number 2 of the same exact build. The Zergling trying to make their way in, but the SCVs actually are going to mess up their pathing quite a bit. Whoa. And he's just going to lose so many Zerglings to that initial.
Whoa.
Wow.
That is, that's a little bit rough. You can see he hadn't scouted in there to see exactly the construction of this wall at the front. So he runs in and he's trying to figure out, okay, do I go around here? Do I try to just bust the bunker? And he made the wrong decision, lost a bunch of Zerglings. And now he's actually going to go in and start to poke things out and see what he can get done here. But even this probably won't be that successful.
I mean, he's pouring more and more Zergling in here. The Zergling are going to be able to keep the SCVs actually a little bit messed up. He does get a really nice surround on the bunker, is able to do a lot of damage. The Marines are holding on really well, though.
I mean, wow, great defense there. Kills off the bunker, but I mean, at this point, there's no more Zerglings for the follow-up. That's going to allow the Terran player to rebuild the bunker. Already has the Academy up. Medics out and on the way. I mean, Stim's going to be here too, and the Zerg player, having spent so much early larva, even off this 3rd hatchery on Zerglings, and even continuing to build more Zerglings now, it's going to get scanned, and you have to know that at this point, Dandy probably feels pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, with the +1 just about to finish up, Stim has finished up, now getting range, now getting all these medics and everything else.
Yeah, look at these medics. So he was for a second there positioning him in this medic wall. Medics don't have a damaging attack, so the AI for Zerglings bugs out, glitches against them, so they can be used to really protect the rest of these Marines. So look for good medic positioning there. It's a hallmark of really, really careful Terran play.
Now, Lurker tech has been researched. The Lurkers are starting to kind of form up here in the natural base of the Zerg. But keep in mind, Zerg's very, very low in supply right now. 35 to 56 of Terran. Like, Zerg can be a little bit below Terran in food and be okay. But being that much below at this early stage of the game is pretty rough.
Food, what is this, Warcraft 3?
It's just easier to say. Because I don't think Zerg have supply.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the French phrase, look at the food, doesn't really just roll off the tongue. You have to look at the supply. That is truly how you do it.
If only I could do a French accent, then I would definitely go for it. But I feel like if I were to try and do a French accent, people would be like, why are you trying to speak like an Australian? Like,
so at this point, we already saw those first couple of attacks fail a little bit. The SCV coming back in for another huge scout, does see the lair, and
the Lurkers burrow right behind the Marines!
Whoa, Scan will catch them out, force them to unburrow, but that's huge spine damage.
That was a lot of Marines that he just lost right there as well. That's huge.
Gonna go in for it again, trying to get the burrow off. One Lurker will fall. Second one and third do both, or third and fourth rather, do both get burrowed. So wow, that's a great position to keep those Lurkers in. It is really kind of pinching this army, but at this point, the Zerg player still needs to get damage done.
I mean, there's 2 more Lurkers on the way, a bunch of Zergling, but I just don't see the real good angle that Trutacz is going to have in this game. I feel like losing that massive push without really doing that much damage kind of sealed this game so far for him. But Zerg can get really lucky with a lot of really good Lurker spines.
Here we go, Lurkers in the front. How many will die? No. There is the scan. It's going to go off there. One Lurker being targeted at a time. Still one surviving there. The scan, does it wear off in time? Yes, it does. Wow. So that Lurker does survive, and he's going to continue to take hits off of it. Second scan, though, from the second CC, and that will finally take that one big Lurker out of commission.
But there's still so many Marines back here with a siege tank behind it as well. Siege tanks have an innate range, not even siege, longer than Lurkers have. And these Lurkers, a couple of Marines getting taken out by a spine there. But these Lurkers now have a problem that they have to deal with, and that's going to be that siege tank.
Now, all you do have to do is burrow the Lurker, and then you're going to have to waste scan on that. But, I mean, this is an unharassed 2-base Terran economy. Terran does not have to make the decision between building workers or attacking units. They can build both. And so this Terran player, Dandy's just looking, living up to his name, looking totally fine.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a really difficult thing about Zerg, is they have to decide, am I going to make units that are going to be able to attack things, or am I going to build a whole bunch of, like, actual econ? And because the Zerg is deciding to go for nothing but attack units, and pretty much has to at this point, because he lost that initial push, and pretty much all map control, hasn't been able to make up any macro at all. This has just been nothing but attack units coming out from the Zerg. Now he does get a huge burrow to move forward, but with the siege tanks all in range and the science vessel to scan without, or detect without any scans needed, it's just a quick cleanup there from Dandy. Trutacz taking out game number 2.
All right, so that's going to tie our series up at 1-1. I think you can start to see a little bit of the difference between our two players there. Trutacz trying to make this big aggressive push work. Did not work, was defended. Great defense there by Dandy. And I just got to say, sometimes defending looks a little bit OP because of the way that units like glitch around buildings and with workers and stuff like that. I think it's kind of supposed to be that way, and that keeps games from just being like a who can rush the other guy faster competition. But just because everything is so microable in Brood War, it's really interesting to see like the little tiny touches that make players unique, and I think you could see that in Dandy's defense.
Yeah, I mean, that initial Zergling harass had so much potential to do so much damage, but just losing all those Zergling without getting any Marine kills, oh, that is just the worst. And, going for such a huge attack like that, that's like, well, the nice little, like, back and forth of Brood Wars. Like, you can go for this really good harass, sometimes you can kind of move out of it, but sometimes you just spend so much into it, there's no way for you to kind of move back out. Like, that's it. You've committed too much. The game is pretty much over if you didn't win. what I love about Brood War, though, is that you can go for a slightly less aggressive stance and kind of move on into the middle and late game a lot easier than you can in games like StarCraft 2, where it's like, if you go for really heavy aggression in StarCraft 2, you've pretty much committed that game, and hopefully you win at that point. But
All right, well, let's get
go back and forth. It's cool. I like it. Anyway.
Well, let's get into our third game in this best of 3. This will decide which player advances on to the grand finals. It's going to be Dandy, our Terran player in the red, spawning up at the upper left-hand corner of the map.
Spawning down in the bottom left-hand corner, it is Trutacz, our orange Zerg. We've been following Trutacz through the ladder. He won Have At You number 2. Is he going to be able to get to the finals? That's the question here. Already losing that last push. Pretty bad.
And Dandy just looking super solid. I think it is very much that fool me once kind of mentality, where game number 1, Trutacz just had a great Zergling run by. He was able to get all the way up the ramp, surround Dandy's Marines, kill off the Academy, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Game number 2, you could already see the adaptation. Dandy going for a bunker, building it early, and defensing it very well. Held off the first push, or the first run by attempt, rush, whatever you want to call it. Second, third, fourth, and then pushed out and won the game. So game number 3, what style are we going to see here? Probably want to avoid that early rush.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that Trutacz kind of changes how this map's going to be played. Keep in mind, it's Demian yet again. It's a salty run back. We're going to see what Trutacz has in mind for this map. It's a pretty wide open natural again, so he could go for the same exact build again. But, as I was saying before, mutas get a lot of good worth out of this map because there's just such a wide open main base that you can really kind of jump your mutas in from a lot of different angles. Of course, there is a lot more room for the Marines to defend that back mineral line there for the main base. But overall, having just more angles for your mutas to come in is just always great. So maybe we'll see some style more like that. But we've been seeing Trutacz been going a lot more for the lurker style of TVZ so far. So we might just see a 3-hash lurker build as well.
I want to go ahead and take a brief moment while after you've just covered the builds so expertly, Sham, to give a little bit of a shout out to our Matcherino donors, Interdictor, Blur Music, Brood War, BW Revival, Olabaz, Extraneous. Thanks, guys, for coming out and donating, helping us increase this prize pool for everyone playing here today. Big fan. And if you haven't donated, or if you can't donate, if you can't, type the donation code into Matcherino for some reason. Thanks for watching anyway, for tuning in. Definitely really cool to see so many people coming out and supporting Brood War. Back at it again.
Yeah, especially with the remastered coming in later this summer. I am just so excited to see what the future of Brood War holds. It's a game that's so dear to so many people. And just like how Smash Melee had its giant revival lately, I'm hoping that Brood War can have its massive revival when we get back into the Age of Brood War. The Age of Brood War and StarCraft 2. It doesn't matter what StarCraft you play. Hopefully you could just play the one that you like.
OneRax FE coming out here for our Terran player, and for Dandy, I think it's actually really cool to see him develop that confidence in game 2 to say, okay, well, if I am facing a huge rush, I'm going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I'm pretty sure he won't. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the OneRax expansion. Nothing crazy like Command Center first, but he should be in an okay place now that he has sort of seen the full gamut of what Trutacz can throw at him.
So a little bit more, a couple more Zergling coming in here to just scout out what the Terran's up to. Again, we can see Dandy just going for that giant wall already. Making sure that is not going to be the same thing that happened in game number 1. Trutacz coming in here, going to be able to try and get a kill on that Marine, but actually just going to lose a Zergling for it. And,
wow, even losing...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, it's your turn.
Okay, fine. I was just going to say, but we can see just, yet again, Dandy going for that +1 weapons, pretty much 3-hash counter build.
Yeah, the third hatchery this time once again built in the back of the base. Now this time it's morphing drones, so it is still a little bit hidden. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he was unscouted this game?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So this time that third hatchery should be A, hidden, and B, will be macroing instead. We should also see a third hatchery out on the map at a natural coming up here in just a second. Also, beautiful fan of Zerglings, just absolutely impressive to watch. Out across the map, just scouting, seeing everything out, knows exactly what's coming his way. These are a little bit, more Zerglings than you would expect to see, but they won't be going for any sort of aggressive bust.
Yeah, you can see already there's no Zergling coming out across the map like it was the last couple of games. Instead, we're seeing the Lurker build come in, going straight in for the... Actually, no, there was an SCV that made it to the base. I don't know if it scouted the third hatch, though. I just remember that. But yeah, just going straight for Lurkers, 3-hatch Lurker. Pretty great base, a pretty good build in order to keep the Terran defensive locked down to 2 bases. Especially going for the +1 weapon so early. It's going to allow the Lurkers to be a little bit more effective. If you get +1 armor and you don't stim your Marines, they can take 1 more shot from a Lurker. Fun facts for all of you new Terran players. And that also gives a little bit later +1 range, and range is actually really useful for defending Lurkers as a with a bunker. If your bunker has Marines in it, they have less range until they get the +1 range, and then they have more range than Lurkers.
Today I learned. Big fan. Thanks for sharing that all with us. And yeah, that is kind of what you want to see. The bunkers defending against Zerglings early on. And then, the Lurkers coming out. And that's when you really have to, either have mech to stop that. Whoa, got to pull back those Zerglings. Nice timing on that. And this is where we're really going to see these Lurkers come out in a big way. Still morphing about halfway done. Lurkers actually do take quite a bit of time to morph, so we'll see if they're used in an aggressive way now that all of these Marines have pushed out, or defensive to come in and try to flank them. Ooh, finding these this big bio force with Zerglings in the map. Where are these Lurkers headed to?
Oh, those Lurkers are looking like they want to go for a nice little pincer maneuver, kind of like counterattack here. The Sunkens are still forming up here, but there's only 2 medics. You generally want to have as many Sunkens as there are medics. But does get the Lurker burrow here.
Oh, burrowing. This will take out the first bunker all the way out there. Kills off 3 out of 4 of the Marines. And now running by here. Gonna get behind the mineral lines. This is such a hard place to clear. It'll also be able to kill off this comsat station and prevent it from rebuilding. So that'll make it even more difficult to take out these Lurkers.
A lot of Lurkers coming in from the natural as well. It looks like he might be able to bust the contain as well if he does get a good surround.
Yeah, really great control here on these Zerglings, using them as a buffer to force the Marines right after they stim to head backwards instead of forwards when the Lurkers are unburrowed and vulnerable. Lurkers burrow very quickly in Brood War, and so you really do have to be right on top of your control there, forcing a lift on that command center at the natural and catching it on fires. It's down to about half HP. This is looking a lot better here for our Zerg player.
Ooh, tries to sim to get into killing those Lurkers. Does get one, does get both of them. There's still 3, keeping the natural lifted up and stopping any type of mining there. There's a little bit of back and forth yet again at the natural of Trutacz. A couple Marines died. It looks like a couple of Zergling died as well.
Now, needing to get those Lurkers into range of that bunker to force out a scan or something like that. But moving forward there with the Zerglings, trying to pick off extra bio. Third base is up and running. 4th hatchery, third base across the map there. So Trutacz actually can get a little bit of macro going on in the meantime if he wants to. But right now, really preoccupied with trying to both keep this contain at the natural and defend his own natural.
I mean, the really hard thing for a Terran to do is making sure that your Marines are backing up perfectly in order to handle Lurkers as they move forward. Lurkers are actually really fast units. Not many people really expect how fast they move. So being able to immediately back up every single time that the Lurkers present even possibly a problem at that natural base for Trutacz is absolutely ridiculous that Dandy's able to do that and then immediately move into the perfect range. But as I'm saying that, gets caught unawares. Oh, the caster's curse. And is going to lose that contain.
Okay, well, In the meantime, want to say Trutacz, great defense. A lot of actual damage done, mining time delayed, but now he has to fight against a very strong bio push coming out here on the map. Lurkers will be forced to burrow. Scan should come down right immediately on top of them. Four Marines get taken out, but now Trutacz has kind of given away his position. He's sieged up out there on the map, and Dandy should be able to sort of rally the forces, rally the troops, get that big scan, stem forward, and deal with these lurkers.
Yeah, he does have siege tanks out on the map as well, which is going to be, as I said last game, very, very crucial for being able to stopping those lurkers from getting too far forward. They do outrange them, and this is when lurker tech kind of takes a back foot. You want to start getting your defiler tech out so you can handle the siege tanks and the marines all in one fell swoop of a dark
all
swarm.
Going for a big surround. Here we go. Zerglings running forward. Burrow does go off on most of these lurkers. Really coming around the corner, actually taking out quite a few marines.
Yeah, that was a really good engage, I think, for Trutacz. Is going to put a really big stopper there on Dandy's push out on the map with those siege tanks, but the siege tanks still kind of moving forward a little bit.
Yeah, and at this point, we're really going to need to see a transition, hopefully, to, I guess, Mutalisks, but there's no Spire, and that transition is really just not going to happen. Droning up behind this as well, so, oh man, big scan does go off. How many lurkers are going to get taken out here? Zerglings running forward, trying to save those lurkers, and they will run away.
Another set of lurkers did get caught in that scan as well, so there's going to be one more down. There's only 4 lurkers left over here. This is not going to be easy for Trutacz to hold if this push starts moving across the map.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot when it comes to army on the other side. Trutacz did go into a macro cycle, like I said, and pop out a ton of drones. He does have some Zerglings out on the map, but those are not going to be nearly enough to stop what is a huge bioforce. And, eventually there's going to be that science facility pumping out a science vessel. He's researching Irradiate, and with a bunch of fire bats now coming out as well. Oh man, there just does not look like a whole lot of Zerg to deal with this. Big scan does go off, and we'll reveal that.
Yeah, I was desperately looking to find if there was a hive somewhere out on the map so you could possibly say, hey, there's going to be Dark Swarm coming up very shortly. But actually, okay, here's an interesting little researcher-oo coming out here from the lair. The hive isn't coming out because he's researching transport sacks. So he's actually going to be going for a massive drop in the main base. But can he get it in time?
Well, this also might come exactly at the same time that Dandy moves out from his base. So he will be able to clear out these lurkers, does not want to send them in, wants to retreat them. But here comes this big load up. Oh my god, it's going to be a big doom drop into the Terran's main base.
Yeah, I don't see any way for the Terran to really easily defend this, especially if those lurkers do get on the ramp. But that's still going to be really difficult for him to handle the giant push coming in through his front base. He only has Zerglings over here, and okay, never mind, there's a bunch of lurkers that I didn't see. But here's that giant drop doing a lot of damage, going straight for the supply depots. If you can supply lock the Terran, they have no chance of making more and more units when you start killing everything else. But the natural base here for Trutacz gets completely slaughtered of all the Zergling that were defending it.
Yeah, and Terran can lift to their buildings. Zerglings and lurkers will never be able to kill, the lifted buildings. And I think this might just be a critical mass of bio knocking at Trutacz's door.
Yeah, I don't see any way for Trutacz to be able to handle this push. I mean, he does have that third base. Maybe he can hole up over there and be able to hold on to the match as he maybe rips apart the main. Here comes a whole bunch of lurkers trying to move on forward in order to handle this siege tank. And they will be able to get a good amount of spines in, but I don't know if it's actually going to be enough still.
Yeah, and it looks like the Zerg forces in Dandy's main will eventually be cleared up thanks to some nice scans, and there's just way too much bio across the map. The lair will fall eventually here, and Dandy looks like he has secured himself a victory here in game number 2 if he can continue to close this out.
Game number 3? This is the ace match, remember?
3, that's right.
Yeah, I mean,
so everything on the line right here. Doom drop. I mean, I guess there was a little bit of doom, but it didn't even kill off the command center. Got quite a few supply depots, but yeah, it's just gonna lift off all of these barracks and send them across the map.
Yeah, there's just no way that he can The good thing is that there's no easy way for Trutacz to deal with these. Dandy to deal with these, but there's no way for Trutacz to deal with Dandy's army in the natural.
Oh, running forward, one irradiate does go off there. Lots of lurker spines going out. More lurkers, they're surrounding this bio force and actually pushing all of Dandy's forces back.
All right, let me eat my own words as he's able to hold that off and actually, ooh, just barely doesn't take that siege tank, but does regain the natural.
Wow, so don't get us wrong, guys. The Zerg player took a lot of damage from that push. Terran will eventually be able to retake his main base. Yeah, just has to kill off that one last lone lurker. And yeah, Terran can get back to business as usual. Lots and lots of Zerglings, those streaming off across the force. Zerg player does know that Dandy is a little bit weakened right now.
Oh my god, there's so many Zerglings!
All of his forces!
He has nothing to defend this right now, down on the on the low ground, and this is going to be a whole bunch of damage. The science vessel coming in here now to be able to give vision for the bunker to be able to start dealing with those lurkers. But there's so many units pouring in here, and there was not a chance for Dandy to rebuild everything.
Yeah, lurkers will get the burrow off. Nice spines going right up the ramp. This is going to be dealing a lot of damage. Oh no, the SCVs, massive damage, getting taken out in waves.
Oh, so many SCVs have just lost their lives. The lurkers have claimed the natural base here. I don't know how Dandy's going to be able to hold this off.
Oh my god, this is so crazy. We're actually going to watch Dandy maybe go out and lose after crushing through almost everything that the Zerg had to. He knocked the Zerg player back to the Stone Age. Trutacz lost his lair. He's going to have to rebuild that, I guess. And even though Dandy will be able to retake his natural inevitably, oh my god, what a bust out. Trutacz not going down without a fight.
Yeah, finally we're going to get a siege tank down here to be able to start cleaning up these lurkers. And that is going to be able to buy him a little bit more time. But, I mean, he still has so much left to go for. There was another drop in the main base that I did miss. Sorry about that. It was a bunch of Zergling. But there were a whole bunch of Marines over there that did clean that up.
Damn. All right. Well, now, so one thing that I've noticed here for Trutacz is that he never knows. He doesn't seem to know when to turn off the aggression. Once he hits the go button, it's go, 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 go. And I'm not sure he's trying to quote Marines there. I think the big thing is that he went in and did a bunch of damage, a lot of damage. And now I think is the time where you want to, not go fully back into defensive macro mode, but just get back to a good place. He is going to have to worry about a relatively scary push coming back out. But, I mean, he is defended. He's reestablished his natural expansion. He does need to rebuild the lair, and he's done so in his main, so it'll be more defended. And he is getting a fourth base up now near his third. So, oh, man, this game is so good.
So close, too. I can't believe, though, that we still are not seeing Trutacz go for a hive. I feel like a couple of Dark Swarms would really supplement this army really well, but of course you would have to, sacrifice a lot of army to get up to that point. Still, Dandy's able to kind of reclaim. Still not on 3 bases, though, and that's going to hurt him in the long run. I mean, yeah, Terran can survive on 2 bases for a billion years, but that's still a long time to not have a 3rd base.
Yeah, so each one of the mineral patches in the main has between 50 and 200 minerals. So that'll be mined out very, very quickly. So for the most part, this is the force that the Terran is going to have to get something done with. At the very least, take a third. See if he is going to opt to push out and try to make something happen.
Wow, look at this giant concave that we're already seeing coming up here from Trutacz. I'm not sure who's going to be able to actually take the next engagement well, because, I mean, Dandy's got a great army, but to get across the map, this Overlord's going to scout the positioning, and this is going to probably signal for Trutacz to start moving. We can already see the giant blob of orange coming in and completely encompassing the Terran army.
Dandy.
But here it comes.
Needs to get out of there. Lurkers will burrow there in a great spot there. Zergling's able to catch out quite a few medics and Marines there. Lots and lots of damage being done, just trying to thin out this Terran force, which is now massively lower.
Alright, so he does get the reburrow though, but there's a whole bunch of irradiates that went down. That's actually going to do a lot of damage to the lurker army. Oh my god, all these lurkers are getting irradiated. The Scourge are not able to connect.
He didn't even micro the Scourge at all. Oof. Great opportunities to kill off that science vessel as it was way far forward. But now, wow, just gotta say, Dandy does not give up. He continues to move forward. Now this push, when the Zerg does not have these huge flanking opportunities, might be a little bit too much to handle. Fourth base is up, but the larva can't even be spent because Zerg player at Trutacz has 1,300 gas, but no minerals.
Oh man, going up for another surround yet again. Here comes the Lurkers trying to run on in here. The Scourge are going to be able to connect with at least one of the Science Vessels. It's going to be a lot less irradiates available, but there's still at least one.
There is indeed. It will go off on a one Lurker, needing to avoid getting around there. But with Scourge unable to kill off the Science Vessel, the Siege Tanks are just going to make the slow push forward.
Yeah, this is going to be a really scary thing for Dandy to engage into. It's a lot of Lurkers still, but that's still a lot of Terran army. Here comes a massive Lurker burrow. Can it take out all the Marines? There's so much damage coming in here, but the Lurkers are melting so quickly.
Yeah, the DPS from Lurker is not that high, even though they do deal that splash damage. And even though this force of Terran might be cleaned up just a little bit, there's another big bio ball out across the map.
He takes out the last Science Vessel that was with the Terran army. Here comes another giant bunch of army from Dandy, but I don't see where Trutacz is going to get the army from.
Trutacz has hung on so admirably, so long, counterattacking, surrounding. It's been incredible, but it looks like Dandy's macro might just be too much.
Oh my god, the Marines now starting to pressure down the natural hatchery yet again. The lair is at least now in the main base this time. But with the siege tank sieging ever so closer, there's not much for these Zergling to do. They're going to get pinned against the wall and completely slaughtered.
Yeah, every drone, or every drone at the Natural getting taken out, every Zergling going down, and finally, after the craziest game that we have seen today, a 21-minute slugfest, and finally, Dandy will take the victory and take a 2-1 over Trutacz.
Wow, what a game.